Hey guys, today we're playing the Castlevania Adventure for the Game Boy Color. This is on the Konami Collections 1 for the Game Boy Color. This originally came out on the original Game Boy Color. I mean, original Game Boy. The black and white are gray and green one, if you really want to go by the actual color scheme. But I thought this version would be more aesthetically pleasing. Also, it runs a bit faster, as the first one ran extremely slow. In my opinion, this is probably the worst Castlevania game that I've personally played, beside the arcade game. The arcade game was technically called Castlevania, or actually it wasn't called Castlevania, it was just called Haunted Castle. It's called Castlevania, well, whatever the Japanese equivalent of Castlevania was in Japan. But it wasn't marketed as a Castlevania game here in the US. I've only played it on MAME. I've never actually seen an arcade game, though I do think I might have seen one in real life at one point, but I never played it. And it's super hard and not really fun. This game, if you have to have a Castlevania game when you originally owned a Game Boy and this was your only choice, I guess you could do worse. But as a Castlevania game, this sucks. One thing they did get right though is the music. This just has weird rules in it that aren't in the other Castlevania games. Like when you get hit, your whip downgrades, which is weird, and you have these ropes you climb up, but that's was mostly put in because the Game Boy wasn't all that great at vertical scrolling. Heck, even like going left and right made this slow. But this runs significantly faster than the original black and white version, at least from memory, because I usually didn't notice those things as a kid, but that's one of the first things I remember. The first Castlevania game I got for Game Boy was Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge, and I originally asked for this for my birthday, and I'm glad I got Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge, because that's the best original Game Boy Castlevania. I don't know why I thought Adventure was better. Plus, when the Game Boy was out, a lot of times they would just port over NES games that you've already played to the Game Boy. A lot of times they'd just take a few things out. Capcom was especially notorious for that, which isn't a bad thing, because there's some games that I like on systems I would love to have portable. Man, I am sucking balls at this. A huge change on this also is you don't have secondary weapons. If you're keeping score and watching these in order as I upload them, you might have noticed that shit. When you die, that's kind of what the original looks like. Some of the color choices are odd in this. Like there's a lot of pinks and stuff. But the music's pretty good, I have to say. One of the few positive things I can say about it. You play as Christopher. I don't have the Castlevania timeline near me, or the official US one, but now that they have the Lords of Shadow series, that's like its own timeline, so I don't even know if they even count the old timeline anymore. But I think it's gonna pretty much be obsolete after Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2, because that's supposed to be the final game in the series. This game has horrible platforming, and it has a lot of platforming, which isn't really the best combinations. The bats move weird in this game. They don't move like they do in the other Castlevania games, so it kind of throws you off. Now I'm back to my shitty leather whip. I just gotta take my time. This part always gets me. The controls are so sluggish on this. It's hard to time something. I hate how they land. Yeah, like I'm supposed to do anything. It's not Castlevania 4 where I can whip in any direction. It's always that one that I hate this game so much. That's pretty bad because Castlevania games are one of my favorite series, but this game pisses me off so much. I've probably thrown my Game Boy playing this game before. I'm almost sure of it. My dad brought it home one time because my dad worked for Nintendo. He's one of those people that if you called up the number where he worked at was one of the places that fixed Nintendo officially. Like he had to go to like some class or something that I guess Nintendo held, and you get like a certification to be able to work on Nintendo hardware. Sony did it for a while too with the PlayStation. Then he got out of it because I guess he didn't like working on electronics after a while. I guess that you get burned out on stuff. It was kind of weird how I'm stuck. Not I had to go through those stupid ass platforms again. The controls weren't so terrible, I wouldn't have gotten stuck. That boss is relatively easy as long as you're not cornered. So I tried uploading a bunch of videos. At least I started by Friday and each one failed. I got the PlayStation 3 yellow lighted death. Luckily, hopefully by tomorrow I'll have a PlayStation 3, but I've been meaning to do older retro games, so I guess it worked out somewhat for you guys. Not for me, because now I don't have a PlayStation that plays PlayStation 2 games anymore. So if I play anything on PlayStation 2, it has to be on an original PlayStation 2, which sucks for the simple fact that the original PlayStation 2 doesn't upscale the high definition, which is a bitch to play on my TV because my TV doesn't support lower resolutions. Anything under, I guess, 480i it doesn't like. So until I get my PlayStation 3, I won't be able to play PlayStation 1 games in a decent resolution. Or even at all. There's some workaround, but they look really shitty. I don't understand my TV because it can take S video with the PlayStation games, but it won't take it through it won't take the PlayStation 1 games through the component cables and playing on PlayStation 2. So I just figured that I'll just wait for the PlayStation 3 to come before I do any PlayStation 1 videos. See how easy that boss was? As long as you don't get cornered with the awkward platforms. I'm gonna stop here because this game blows. Only get this game if you're a Castlevania completist. Otherwise, skip it. If you want a good overall Game Boy Castlevania game, stick with Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge, which is the sequel to this, which I will get to in the future or soon, but eventually get to. Anyway, guys, thanks for being patient, and thank you guys for not canceling your subscription to my channel because I haven't put up videos for a week. There's a lot going on, don't really want to get into it, but thanks again, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Bye.